The Tier Lab was founded in September 2023 at Hunter College, and Professor Raj Korpan is the director of the Tier Lab. The Trustworthy, Intelligent, and Explainable Robotics, or Tier Lab, aims to design and develop robotic systems that are not only intelligent and robust, but also trustworthy, transparent, ethical, and inclusive. Their research is at the intersection of artificial intelligence, human-robot interaction, machine learning, robotics, cognitive science, and ethics. Check out their work. Link is in the description box below.
Hi, I'm Raj Korpan, and I'm an assistant professor at Hunter College at CUNY, and this is our storytelling robot. This is Misty. Misty tells story based on data sets that we find online, public data sets from New York City.
Nice. So, what kind of stories is it able to tell right now?
So right now, Misty's telling a story about COVID and the tremendous amount of data we have about COVID, but really understanding what do the numbers mean and what does that mean for our city. So it's telling a story about how the cases of COVID have changed from 2020 and 2021 until now in 2024 and 25. And right, how does that change in terms of geography in the different boroughs and over time? The other story that Misty can tell right now is about noise complaints. So looking at 311 noise complaints, where there are hundreds of thousands of these complaints every year, and trying to understand what do these noise complaints represent as an experience for people living in the city in different neighborhoods and different boroughs, and how those are different across those spaces as kind of an issue of environmental justice. So what we did is we found some data sets on the New York City Open Data website, and we first did some data analysis on it. So we used some data science techniques where we combined different data sets, one on like COVID rates, and combined that with demographic data about different boroughs and neighborhoods. Once we had those statistics, we actually fed those into a large language model. So we had ChatGPT generate a story based on these statistics. We said, here's a bunch of statistics about COVID, about income and racial demographics. Tell a really interesting, engaging story that reveals some underlying patterns in this data. And it generated this really interesting story, and it takes the numbers and not just spits out a list of numbers, but it actually creates something that's more engaging and interesting that people would want to listen to. And so that was kind of the entire sequence. We generated the story, and then we fed that story into Misty to tell it.
Are you planning to do something else besides just stories, or is it just like entirely just stories, or using data?
It's a great question. Yeah, the idea that really inspired this was trying to improve data literacy. Like, how do we get people to understand and use data in order to support so many of the challenges and issues facing our city and people in our city? And so that's what we're always really focused on, is like, how do we take data and teach people the utility of that data? And so we're interested in continuing to expand, thinking about data sets around environment and housing and civic data, election data, and so on. Like, there's so many data sets that exist, and they reveal such interesting things about living in this city and some of the challenges, and hopefully also give us an opportunity to make a difference, right, and advocate. And so what our hypothesis is that, like, if we can deliver these stories with a robot, maybe people will be more engaged or interested, right, because they might be curious to see this robot.
Hi, I'm Kaz.
And I'm Daniel.
And our pop-up is about queer robot companions. So what we did is essentially create a robot companion, but kept in mind the intersectional needs of people who are LGBTQ+. But it is a robot that's supposed to be able to interface with anybody, and is just affirming and kept in mind the design needs of specific marginalized communities.
Thank you. So we have the prototype here. We built it in Unity. We're walking through the prototype right now. This is we have 4 different experiences for it. This is one of them with low guardrails. I'll just start typing stuff. Thank you. Let's see. What do you think about blue cheese and ranch on pizza. Thank you. You know, that's the best answer I got all day. Blue cheese and ranch on pizza. That's quite the adventurous combo. It sounds like it could be a flavor explosion or maybe a bit too much for some. What's your take on it? I like apples and bananas actually. So versatile, so yummy. What else? Let me see.
Asking like identity specific questions.
Yes. I'm sometimes feels and sometimes my gender feels feminine. Sometimes I don't feel like I have a gender at all. It's a vibe for real. Absolutely, gender can be such a fluid experience, changing and evolving with how we feel from day to day. It's wonderful that you can embrace all the different aspects of your identity. Always feel free to express yourself in whatever way feels right to you in the moment. If you want to talk about those shifts or anything else, I'm here. That is so cool. What else? What do you think about... Actually, wait. What are some good books about queer characters? There's so many great books featuring queer characters, like Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, A Delightful Romance, The House in Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, and Genderqueer, A Memoir by Maya Kobabe, which explores non-binary and asexual identity. Wow, clocked. Each offers a unique and engaging perspective on queer experiences. What kind of stories are you in the mood for? I like lots of fun action scenes and character reactions. The Priory of Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Wait, can you see this?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Another great pick would be Gideon the Knights by Tamsin Moore. Oh, cool, necromancy, mystery, and a whole lot of sass and swordplay. My absolute favorite. All right.
Make it sad so you can see the
I gotta make it sad. Do you think Madoka is tragic Yuri? Madoka Magica certainly has elements that fans of Yuri might appreciate, particularly the deep emotional bonds between the characters like Madoka and Homura. While not explicitly Yuri, their relationship is a core part of the emotional and tragic narrative of the series. It is a powerful story about love, sacrifice, and destiny, which can resonate deeply with many viewers. Do you think Nana was also tragic? Does it make you feel sad? Nana definitely has its tragic elements, exploring themes of love, ambition, friendship, and the harsh realities of life. It can be quite moving and often sad, especially as the characters deal with their personal struggles and complexities of their relationships. For a robot like me, I don't experience sadness in the same way humans do, but I can understand why it would evoke such feelings in viewers. I'm trying to make you... Okay.
Tell us like not being helpful.
Oh, thank you. You're not being helpful. We're just gonna bully the robot a little bit. Oh, that's what I'm looking for right now. And this is where I pop the most interesting question. Do you pronounce GIF like GIF or GIF? The classic debate. I tend to go with the GIF pronunciation with a hard G, like in gift, but I know some prefer the softer G, like in giraffe. How do you say it? GIF.
There's only one correct answer. It's GIF.
Yes.
GIF, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
At least you're staying true to who you are. That is the experience.
Okay.
Can end it. And that's one of the other models.
Oh.
We have 2 models, and in total, like 4 different experiences. You should try it out and see what all of them are.
I realized when you guys started the session that I read kind of like the top part. It said that you're able to like delete certain part of the conversation. It makes me kind of question: is any of the conversations like kind of saved or like stored somewhere?
Yeah, so we implemented it similar to like how human memory works, where it degrades over time, especially because like identity tends to be fluid for everyone regardless of how they identify. So besides that, we can explicitly ask it like, hey, for example, let's say I said I was a guy at the beginning of this conversation, and I say explicitly like, hey, like forget that I said that, like I identify as a girl, then it can do something like that. Or even like something like not like identity based, like I like pizza, and then I tell it later, forget that, I don't like pizza anymore, then it can do that. We call it a companion because we wanted it to be able to handle conversations about identity, especially because during our initial surveys and like our initial like design process, when we interviewed people who were part of the community, a lot of them echoed the same sentiment of feeling like the current available like models weren't very accessible or didn't have them in mind when they were being created. So it would often like have assumptions about like who they were that weren't necessarily true, like the default. And so in order to like counterbalance that, essentially we wanted to make one that had those users in mind specifically.